Welcome back to the shed. I'm Syd, Mackie's on the camera, and today we are going to be taking a tour of the Berd Spokes headquarters. Now, if you've been watching our other channel, you know that we have been running these Berd spokes on all of our bikes for several years now. These spokes are actually made out of a Kevlar-like material, essentially a thread, so they are flexible and floppy when they do not have the tension on them. This makes them the world's lightest bicycle spokes, and we have loved them and found them to perform well on all of our bikes. So when we were up in the upper Midwest earlier this year, and Berd invited us to come and film a tour of where they make all of their spokes, which is right here in the United States, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We could not pass up that opportunity, and we're super excited to share this video with you today.
So I founded the company with three good friends of mine. I was finishing my graduate degree in chemical engineering at Penn State, and a couple other engineering friends. We were all into cycling. We recognized the value of lightweight components, and we were doing a lot of slacklining at the time. And one of the materials that people were using at the time was Dyneema, and so we realized what an amazing material this is, and had the idea, could we put this in our spokes.
That's so cool. The connection came from slacklining.
We wanted to start a company. We had a whole bunch of ideas. And the other idea was an injector where we could inject peanut butter into the center of bananas. So we made prototypes for both. We made prototypes of our spoke in my apartment. We made our peanut butter injector, and then obviously we decided to move forward with the spoke.
That was probably the right call.
So all of the early spokes we made in my apartment, where we would make them entirely by hand, and I had these rafters in the apartment where we'd hang from our spokes to be able to put tension on them and and tighten the loop of the spoke. And then we built the first wheels there, and that was back in 2015, and then a lot happened since then to get where we are today. So our spokes are made out of Dyneema, ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene. It's a braided fiber, and it's hollow on the inside. And what makes the spoke so special is this bond right here. The fiber is bonded to a normal stainless steel spoke end. And why they're so strong is because it relies on the finger trap effect. Yeah, like a Chinese finger trap. Yeah, exactly. The harder you pull, the more those fibers compress onto the rod.
Cool.
And it's bonded with an amazing adhesive too, but the reason it's so amazing and the reason it will never fail is because of that Chinese finger trap effect. So that's this end, and that's what we have patented. It's the most important part of the spoke. And then on the other end of the spoke is a loop, and the loop actually relies on a similar effect where the braid goes back inside itself again, so you have that same finger trap holding effect. And the reason the loop is so good, though, is that it works with so many different types of connections, and it's very lightweight. So it'll work with J-bend hubs or straight pull hubs or our hook flange hubs. When we first invented it, we really had no way to economically produce them. And so we had to develop our own manufacturing process, which we did over the course of about 5 years with some grants from the National Science Foundation to make automated equipment so that we can produce these economically and reliably. And one cool thing about the manufacturing process is that every single spoke gets pulled to about 450 pounds during that process, which tests the spoke, it tests the bond, and then it also tightens everything and lengthens it so that it's ready to be built into a wheel. And then they're all made here in this office with our machines that we develop by employees who live here, which is pretty cool.
That's right.
So this is our spoke inventory. We inventory lengths all the way from short BMX spokes that are 178 millimeters long. So these are the shortest spokes that we produce here, all the way up to 316 millimeter spokes. We have our spoke coloring kits to be able to color your wheels any color of the rainbow. We ship our spokes all over the world. These are our internal builds where we'll take people's components, for example, your wheels, and we build them up and then ship them back to you. Whereas these rows here are the spokes that we're shipping out to either bicycle shops or to some of our great distributors and OEMs like Noble in Canada. So these are our Hawk rims. These are our best-selling mountain bike rims. The other really cool thing about these rims is that they're only 18 millimeters deep, so there's a lot of flex in this direction when you're going over rocks and ruts. Yeah, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
You can actually feel it flex.
And we have our Sparrow wheels as well. Those are our gravel wheels that are sub 1,100 grams. The rims for those are only about 265 grams. It's pretty impressive. And they have a 250-pound weight limit.
So this is where we produce all of our wheels.
Cool.
We lace our hubs and spokes by hand, and then we true our wheels. All wheels go through our wheel squishing machine. We can show you how some of these things work.
Wheel squishing machine. We're gonna have to see that.
Yeah. Our wheel production manager.
I'm Syd.
I said the results from the Marquette race.
Yeah, it was fun and hard.
All right, so I'm working on a wheel set here. It's a custom build. We have some DT 240 straight pull hubs and some carbon rims. The straight pull build uses a couple special tools. We have our wire loop. It goes through the loop of the spoke, and then I can actually feed the wire through the hub and pull it with the puller. And then we actually use this tool. This is a insert pushing tool. For the straight pull wheels, we use these little stainless steel inserts that are, they have a machine bevel on them that's perfectly smooth, that doesn't have any sharp edges to cut the spoke. You can kind of see the stainless steel insert here. And then these are our spoke holding rods. These are the same material as the spokes.
Okay.
They're just hardened with a little more adhesive, so they're not as flexible. And that goes through the loop and pulls tight, and that's how these spokes attach to a straight pull. We also do J-bend and hook flange, and I think I have some to show. So we have a couple more custom builds here. These are the new Industry 9 Solex hubs. So this is a J-bend. The process for these is we actually have a different stainless steel insert that goes into each hole. And then it'll be a similar process where you use the wire loop, pull the spoke through, and then put the spoke holding rod in and pull it tight. And then after that, it's just like lacing up a wheel with steel spokes, really. They just all attach to the rim just like normal. These are my favorite. These are the hook flange hubs. There's no inserts needed. They are just ready to lace. The spokes actually just hook on, and they're super fast to lace, and they're made to work with our spokes. Then after the wheel's laced, you tension and true it the same as any wheel. The old way to build with these wheels was to do 3 rounds of truing over 3 days to allow the spokes to stretch.
Sure, yep.
So now we can do it the whole thing start to finish inside of a half hour using this squishing machine. 3 rounds of truing still, but between each round of truing, we'll actually just put the wheel in the press, and it'll do 2 minutes. We'll flip it, and it'll do 2 more minutes.
And so basically that just stretches the spokes as if you had left it sitting for a day or so.
After it comes out, it's gonna have about half as much tension as when it goes in. Last squish, it's gonna go into the press and come out at the same tension.
Wasn't quite as dramatic as I was expecting, but still very cool technology.
So then once the wheels go through our QC process, where our operator goes through the wheel, makes sure the tensions are correct, make sure it's in true, applies the decals. They're put into our boxes, and then they go into our inventory room where the wheels are stored until they're ready to go. Right now, our inventory is pretty light because we've been selling a lot of wheels. Here's a set of the Sparrows. So you felt the Sparrow wheel, the rim, that's the complete wheel.
That's crazy.
From here, the wheels go into Ryan's hands. He processes all the orders out, puts the shipping labels on, and gets them on their way. Where's the most exotic place we've shipped?
We ship regularly to Dubai quite a bit.
We do a few different things in here. So we do destructive spoke testing.
Nice.
We do quality control where we periodically break our spokes. We also do wheel torque fatigue tests. And this is a really good test to test the connection between the spoke and the hub. Okay. And what this does is this pneumatic cylinder pulls on this bar, which is a 1/2 meter long, with 50 kilograms of force. That amount of torque corresponds to roughly like 3,000 watts in an all-out sprint, at the end of a race. We do that torque, and we do 50,000 cycles of that, where we're holding the rim with the webbing, so the rim itself doesn't move, but we're pulling up on the bar, and so every single cycle puts that much torque. And so if they withstand 50 to 100,000 cycles, then they're most likely never going to have any problems in the real world. The best test for rims is impact testing. every single wheel that goes into this comes out as a wheel that's no longer rideable. That's the point of the test. And the way we do this is we start at a very low height and then just increasingly continue to raise this up and drop it on the wheel. And with every drop, you get more and more energy until the rim fails. Yeah. So we can do a spoke brake test here for fun, and anybody watching it should have a pair of safety glasses. This machine is essentially an Instron or a tensile testing machine. And this is right now is being pulled up at a rate of 0.1 millimeters per second. And it's just going to keep pulling until the spoke eventually breaks. So right now it's at about 30 kilograms of force. You know, we can hear that it sounds pretty low pitch. It still isn't very tight. When it breaks, it'll be pretty loud. So it's also not a bad idea to wear ear protection. So it's at about 120 kilograms, which is now 130, so it's a little bit higher than it would be in a wheel, and you can see how the pitch changed. So now that it's at almost 200, I'll put these on, knowing that it's probably going to break soon.
That was oddly satisfying.
That was about 275 kilograms. Wow. So you know, right at the level that I expected. You know, that's 600 pounds. That means all of us could be hanging off of that spoke and it wouldn't break. We've engineered the spoke so that this bond is stronger than the rest of the spoke. And it actually broke right at the tip at the end of that bond. And that's where we designed the spokes to break. Right. So that's something that'll happen, you know, in this test, but that will never break there when you're riding.
We hope you guys enjoyed this inside look at the Berd Spokes headquarters. If you enjoyed this style of video, let us know in the comments. And if you want to learn more about Berd Spokes, head to their website, berdspokes.com. You can send your existing wheels to them and get them outfitted with Berd Spokes, or check out all of the wheel sets that they have available. And if you make a purchase, don't forget to use code Syd and Mackie for 10% off.